Think about a ceramic bowl that has fallen from a high shelf. In an instant, what was once whole is now a mess of jagged shards on the floor. Most of us look at that mess and see only one thing: trash. We see something that is broken beyond repair, something that has lost its value. We treat our own lives the same way. When we go through a bankruptcy, a devastating divorce, or a massive professional failure, we feel like that broken bowl. We try to hide the pieces. We try to glue ourselves back together in the dark, hoping no one sees the seams, terrified that if the world sees our cracks, they will realize we are damaged goods. But in the Japanese tradition, there is an art form called Kintsugi. Instead of throwing the broken pieces away or trying to hide the damage with clear glue, the master craftsman joins the shards back together using a lacquer mixed with pure gold. They don't hide the cracks. They highlight them. They turn the site of the disaster into the most beautiful part of the object. The bowl becomes stronger, more unique, and infinitely more valuable than it was when it was perfect. This isn't just art, it is the ultimate blueprint for your internal ROI. Life, at its very core, is a process of breaking and rebuilding. If you cannot understand the mechanics of your own golden repair, your life becomes a constant retreat into survival mode. You spend all your energy trying to stay perfect because you're terrified of the break. But perfect is fragile. Perfect has no story. Perfect has no wisdom. You are holding your life so tightly that you aren't actually living it. You're just guarding a bowl that hasn't fallen yet. Let me ask you a question. Who would you trust more to lead you through a storm? Someone who has lived in the sun their entire life, or someone who has been shipwrecked, lost at sea, and found their way back to shore? In Buddhist wisdom, we talk about the lotus flower. The lotus doesn't grow in filtered water or manicured gardens. It grows in the thickest, darkest mud. Without the mud, there is no flower. Your failure, that dark, muddy period of your life, is not a detour. It is the soil. It is the very material required for your awakening. You've probably felt the shame of the shard. You walk into a room and you feel like everyone can see your scars. You think your history makes you less than. In psychology, this is called cognitive distortion. You are looking at your cracks and seeing weakness, but the universe is looking at your cracks and seeing surface area. A smooth, unbroken bowl has very little surface area for light to catch, but a Kintsugi bowl, it has 1,000 new angles. It reflects light in ways a perfect object never could. Your trauma and your failures have given you a capacity for empathy, depth, and resilience that a lucky person simply doesn't possess. I once knew a man who lost his entire company in his 40s. He felt like a total failure. He spent a year in hiding, ashamed to show his face to his peers. But when he finally stopped gluing himself together in secret and started speaking openly about what he learned, the mistakes he made, the ego he had to drop, something strange happened. People didn't look down on him. They flocked to him. His cracks became his authority. He realized that his failure was actually his most valuable asset because it gave him a golden wisdom that no MBA could ever teach. He wasn't a broken man, he was a Kintsugi leader. When the memory of a past failure or the sting of a current break hits you, can you pause? Think of the craftsman with the gold lacquer. He doesn't rush. He doesn't panic. He looks at the shards and thinks, how can I make this even better? When you feel that surge of shame or the urge to hide, give yourself the 3-second gap. In that space, realize the break is the first arrow. The shame is the second arrow. Take one deep breath and ask, how do I paint this crack with gold? This is the Stoic dichotomy of control. You couldn't control the fall, but you have 100% control over the lacquer you use to put yourself back together. Why is it so hard to value our scars? Because we are addicted to the illusion of permanence. We want a life that is unbreakable, but everything in the physical world is subject to anicca, the law of impermanence. Everything breaks, the mountain erodes, the sun eventually sets. If your value is based on being unbroken, you are guaranteed to live a life of anxiety. But if your value is based on your ability to repair, you become anti-fragile. You stop fearing the fall because you know you have the gold within you to make the recovery more beautiful than the original state. Think back to the most beautiful souls you've ever met. They aren't the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who have been through the fire. They have a certain weight to them. A quiet, unshakable peace. That peace is the gold in their cracks. A mind that has never been broken is often shallow. A mind that has been shattered and rebuilt is a temple. You have to let go of the ideal self that never fails to make room for the real self that is invincible. Do you want to be the person who is hiding their pieces under the rug, or the one who stands in the light, glowing with the gold of their experience? Growth isn't about avoiding the cracks. It's about what you fill them with. Next time you make a mistake, don't reach for the invisible glue. Reach for the gold. Tell yourself, this is where my value increases. Next time someone judges you for your past, look at them with the eyes of a mountain. Their judgment is just a cloud passing over your bedrock. Next time you feel broken, tell yourself, I am not trash. I am Kintsugi in progress. This is deep trust in your internal ROI. When you live this way, your shoulders relax, your voice becomes steady. You stop competing with perfect people and start outperforming them because you aren't afraid of the risks. The things that used to make you tweak like a fragile bowl feel as light as dust. You start to see every disaster as a design opportunity. You stop living for a version of yourself that never fails and start living as the person who is proud of every seam. We aren't here to be museum pieces kept behind glass to avoid a scratch. We are here to be used, to be broken, and to be repaired. If life is a journey, don't be the one who arrived at the end with a perfect body and a perfect record, but an empty soul. Be the one who arrives covered in gold, showing the world that every break was just a chance to shine a little brighter. May you find the gold in your own shards today. Don't hide the cracks. The world needs to see how you survive.